Presented by Honda. We've been there from the start. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Proud fan since 1977.
Welcome to Rogers Center. The roof is open. It's 17 degrees. Another beautiful afternoon for baseball here in Toronto. The crowd filing in, and Marco Estrada set to take the mound for his 28th start of the season. Estrada is 9-9 this season. The last time out against the Mariners, he took a no-hitter into the 7th. Finished that game just one hit allowed. That was to Robinson Cano, and Estrada has been a big game pitcher, and he's going to try to keep this string alive against the Yankees here this afternoon. Take a look at the lineup for John Gibbons and the Blue Jays, or excuse me, for the Yankees. Starting lineup, Gary Sanchez, the rookie, was the DH first 2 games against the Blue Jays. 0 for 4 yesterday, but still hitting well against the Blue Jays, including 3 home runs, 2 of those against today's starter, Marco Estrada. Didi Gregorius in his last 9 games hitting over 300. He too has a home run against Estrada. That came the last time Marco faced the Yankees in New York. And Marco, as we mentioned, coming off a great start in Seattle.
Yeah, you couldn't say it any better than what you did. He couldn't pitch much better than he did against Seattle. He retired the first 11 batters, then walked a couple more, then 7 more in a row retired by Estrada before he gave up his first hit in the 7th inning. That's the 4th time in the last 2 years that he's taken a no-hitter into the 7th inning. 1 batter reached second base against Marco Estrada in that start. Versus the Yankees this year, he's 2-0 in 3 starts versus the Yankees.
Marco Estrada set to take on the Yankees. This is his 5th career start against New York here at Rogers Center. His 9th start overall against the Yankees. He has a 3-2 record. Brett Gardner will step in. Gardner snapped a long 0 for with a single in the 9th inning yesterday. He was 0 for 22 here at Rogers Center this season. Here's the first pitch of the game. It's in there for a strike, and we are underway. Well, the crowd has been entertained to 2 great ball games. The Blue Jays have shut out the Yankees in both games so far in this 4-game series. Downstairs, he misses. Gardner just 3 for 24 against Estrada, batting .256 on the regular season.
Couldn't ask for anything more than what the Blue Jays have given the team starting and relief pitching wise in the first 2 games. The Yankees have been struggling offensively. 3 straight games now that they have been shut out. So, you know, they're dialed in, if you will, this afternoon against Estrada. So he's going to have to pitch a heck of a game to keep that shutout streak going.
Liriano got it started in this series. 6 innings of shutout ball. He allowed just 3 hits. 1-2. Popped up. Tulowitzki retreats to the outfield. Makes the catch, 1 away. Defensively, let's take a look at the lineup, the way it sets up for Estrada. He's a fly ball pitcher, and the outfield play becomes very important. It's Carrera, Pilar, and Saunders from left to right in the outfield. Donaldson and Tulowitzki on the left side. Travis and Encarnacion on the right side. Russell Martin doing the catching for Marco. He was behind the plate in Seattle when Marco pitched that great game against the Mariners.
And he did a heck of a job of using the fastball a little bit more. Again, it was the Seattle Mariners who were sitting on that changeup the first time they saw Marco. Russell caught him last time and really used the fastball very effectively.
Jacoby Ellsbury, the center fielder. Martin and Estrada, of course. Martin caught him exclusively in the first half, and Marco was an all-star.
Yeah, Navarro came over here. He caught him last year and did a great job with Estrada. Marco making some great pitches. I'll tell you what, he has thrown 3 changeups so far today, and all 3 of them have been beautiful.
Fly ball into shallow right field. Travis going out, way out, gets there and makes the catch. Well, that stayed in the air a long time, allowing the second baseman to get out in the outfield and make the catch.
Well, Kevin Pillar, the center fielder, was actually shading Ellsbury to left field. He normally runs this ball down. You can see him shading him to left field. It's hit high enough. Saunders was deep in right field, so the only guy who's going to be able to make this play, Devin Travis, calls everybody off and hauls in the second pop-up of the game.
So this will be Gary Sanchez, who is catching this afternoon. Sanchez went 0 for 4 in the game with a couple of strikeouts to snap his 6-game hit streak against the Blue Jays. Estrada delivers a first pitch strike.
Well, the last time these two teams met and he faced Estrada, he got him a couple of times.
Hit a solo home run in the 2nd inning back in August in New York, and then a 3-run home run in the 4th. Curveball. Marco gave up 3 home runs in that outing against the Yankees. He gave up a 1st inning home run to the cleanup hitter, Didi Gregorius, who's on deck. Well, a good call by Martin. After missing with that curveball, he comes right back with it.
No problem doubling up with that curveball, especially against a hot hitter. The home runs that Sanchez hit against Marco Estrada were on changeups. So they're going to go upstairs with the fastball.
He went around. Sanchez strikes out. Marco Estrada retires the side in order. Couple of fly ball outs and a strikeout. Have been getting terrific starting pitching of late. They have really set the tone and allowed the offense to come around and score runs and take early leads. Take a look at the lineup for John Gibbons. 85 and 69. The Blue Jays were 2nd in the American League East. They went in Encarnacion against Michael Pineda, the starter for the Yankees. Is 9 for 27 with a homer and 2 RBIs, and right behind him, Jose Bautista. Boy, his numbers are heating up at the right time. Over his last 9 games, Jose's batting .314 with 5 extra base hits. Of course, those 2 big home runs, one in Seattle and one here yesterday.
Looking like it's going to start to kickstart him. This is 27-year-old Michael Pineda, 31st start of the season. That's a career high for Pineda. In fact, it's the first time in his career that he has made 30 starts in a season. He's always been a tough customer against the Blue Jays. 10 career starts versus the Jays. He's allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 6 of his 7 starts versus Toronto. He is a tough customer.
Overall, you can see his record at 2-3. Devin Travis takes a strike. It's 1-1 to the Blue Jays leadoff man. Very good season for Travis. 95 games. He's hitting .305. He took an 0 for yesterday. 0 for 4 with a strikeout.
You know what makes Pineda so tough is 6'7", and he throws really hard, and he's got a great slider. And the Blue Jays lineup is full of right-handed hitters. He's the kind of guy, he's almost like a mystery. You're just not sure what guy's going to show up. He's intimidating. He throws hard. He's big. He could come up with 12 strikeouts, or he could be gone by the 5th inning.
Pineda's best season still remains his first season in Seattle when he threw 171 innings. That was a career high. He had an ERA at .374 as a rookie. Breaking ball bounced toward third. Headley cuts it off, throws the first one away. Well, the Yankees have used a different lineup every day here. They've got some youngsters they're shuffling in and out of the lineup. The two veterans in left and center, Gardner and Ellsbury. Mason Williams gets to start in right. Chase Headley, former Gold Glove winner, back at third. Gregorius and Torreyes up the middle. Mark Teixeira makes his first start of the series, and behind the plate, Gary Sanchez catching for the first time in this series.
95th start of the season and possibly his last start here in Toronto. His great career. 5-time Gold Glove winner, 3-time All-Star. He's got 407 career home runs, 5th most for a switch hitter in Major League Baseball history. And quite possibly, again, his final start.
Josh Donaldson now with a 1-1 count. Donaldson had a couple of hits in yesterday's game, but he had a 1-out single that set up that 3-run home run by Jose Bautista. We mentioned the big boys coming through late in the season. And you look at the Blue Jays, Donaldson, Encarnacion, Bautista, and Martin, they did most of the damage in the game yesterday.
Well, we talked about that in the opening. When these guys hit, when they produce, the Blue Jays wins. The Blue Jays win ball games. JD homered on Tuesday in Seattle, and that seems to have gotten him going offensively. He is 6 for 14 since then, with a couple other home runs. There are the 3 big guys in the middle of the lineup.
Those 3 and Martin reached base 10 times in 16 plate appearances yesterday. Of course, Josh Donaldson sporting the new look with the high top white cleats and the knee-high socks. So far, so good.
He got the shout out yesterday on Instagram from LeBron James. That's LeBron's Soldier 10 cleats that he is wearing, and it's worked out for him the last couple of days. Check him out. LeBron sent him an Instagram saying thanks.
Donaldson down the right side. This ball's got a chance to stay fair, and it does. Off the wall. Donaldson hustling into second with a 1-out double. Get everybody some of those shoes.
What a piece of hitting for Josh Donaldson. He missed the 3-1 fastball, fouled it off, but then Pineda came right back with the fastball away, and he stayed right with it. Didn't try and pull it. You can see he cut his swing down, kept it fair. Hits a rocket in the right field. The ball momentarily mishandled by Williams, the right fielder, but there's the great right field approach that we have seen from the Blue Jays in this series. Keep on hitting.
Edwin Encarnacion has had a good run against Michael Pineda. Encarnacion 9 for 27 against Pineda. He's had a home run, driven in a pair. Edwin's had a career season. He has set a career high in RBIs. He's tied his career high in home runs, and yesterday he picked up his career high 153rd hit.
You know what's impressive about that is everybody knows about Encarnacion. I mean, there's no secrets. He's been around a while now, so pitchers know how to pitch to him. On top of all of that, they're tough. They're looking out for him. They're not letting him beat it. He's still coming up with the big hits and the big home runs and the big RBIs.
And now they're even dressing up like parrots. Ed Wing, they like to see that right arm up in the air and that parrot being taken around the bases. He's done it 42 times this year. That high fastball at 95.
A little challenge action right there with that high fastball. 6 walks in his last 3 games, so he understands what pitchers are trying to do to him. They might pitch around him or pitch very carefully to him, and he'll take his share of walks.
Inside. Pineda's had his problems in the first inning. He's had a 660 earned run average in the first inning. He's allowed 22 first inning runs. Oftentimes starters will have trouble getting adjusted, acclimated to the mound, getting into the flow of the game.
Getting the feel of that slider. That's his big pitch that he'll use for strikeouts. He had 11 strikeouts in his last start in just 5 1/3 innings versus Tampa.
2-2 pitch. Strike 3 call. That backup slider meant to be away. Caught the inside corner. That'll bring Jose Bautista to the plate with a man on and 2 outs.
Another big home run for Bautista. This is a 2-0 fastball from Tyler Clipper. And he hit a laser out of here. A fan caught it there in left field. The only runs in the ball game for the Blue Jays. That 3-run home run, and good to see him get the head outs on that 2-0 fastball.
Bautista batting .314 over his last 9 games. Interesting piece of information on Pineda. The opponents are hitting .330 with 2 outs compared to .235 with less than 2 outs. He just hasn't been able to focus and close out the innings.
Concentration. I mean, his stuff is outstanding. When you watch him pitch, and some of his best games have been against the Blue Jays in his career.
Breaking ball.
This is the 3rd time that the Blue Jays have seen him. I saw him back in April here at the Rogers Center. He lost that game to the Jays through 6 innings, had 6 strikeouts. And then he had a no decision versus the Blue Jays back at Yankee Stadium in August. He only lasted 5 innings that day. Was that the rain day?
That's when he came out of the game. Yep.
Yeah, he was pitching much better, but the long rain delay had to come out of the game.
Breaking ball, cut on and missed. Pineda, pitching as a Yankee against the Blue Jays, has allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 6 of his 7 starts. One and 2 to Bautista. This is where he usually uses that slider to finish off the at-bats. Slider. You could see Pineda thought it was going to be called a strike. Phil Cuzzy, the home plate umpire, didn't like it. It's now 2-2.
Said just low. We've seen the Blue Jays this whole series against tough right-handed pitching. The right-handers going to right field. If he throws that slider out there, if you can poke one to right field.
High fastball. It's a full count. Well, you mentioned how tough this lineup is. 1 through 6 in the order can match up with anybody's in baseball. Russell Martin will bat. Donaldson with a 1-out double still at second. Bautista takes ball 4. Another first inning jam for Pineda.
And that keeps Bautista's streak of getting on base alive. And here in the first inning,
32 games for Bautista. He's reached base, and it doesn't make any difference. He will not chase borderline pitches. He continues to be very patient and selective.
even with runners in scoring position, very patient. He'll pass the baton. That's what I talked about the Blue Jays now starting to get that lineup working all together.
Russell Martin, part of this veteran heart of the order for the Blue Jays. Martin with 20 home runs this season. First pitch swinging, line to right field. Williams is there and makes the catch. Martin got that slider he was looking for and lines out to right. The Blue Jays get a double and a walk, but strand a pair.
shutting down opponents with men in scoring position. This Blue Jays rotation is among the best. No less than 4 Blue Jays starters rank among the top 15 in the American League when it comes to opponents' batting average with men in scoring position. Pitching coach Pete Walker telling me it really is a testament to their experience and composure on the mound. He says they're really trusting their stuff. They know when they need to bear down. He also told me that the rotation secondary pitches has also been very good in these critical situations. As for Estrada, Walker told me his changeup was as good as it's ever been last time out. He thought his fastball command was great. That is key when he's locating the fastball, Buck. The changeup is very effective.
Didi Gregorius leads things off and takes the first pitch off the plate outside. We mentioned Gregorius homered off of Estrada in the first inning when they faced each other in New York. Fouls it back, 1-1.
Well, one other thing that Marco Estrada did that was very interesting in that last start, he didn't throw any cutters. The cutter had been a pretty good pitch for him, and he was saying last year that was the pitch that put him over the top, but he said, I'm tired of getting beat by the cutter. It just hasn't been as consistent as I have wanted. So in that start against Seattle, it was fastball, curveball, changeup.
Donaldson backing up just off the dirt, makes the pop-up catch. Run away.
I found that very interesting when you and I had a chance to sit down and chat with him in Seattle.
You know what? The cutter is meant to be a surprise pitch, and I think a lot of people get too wrapped up in throwing it, and it becomes a mediocre fastball in my mind. And I think Marco did a great job to shelve the cutter last time out, and it proved to be effective.
He also said, it's not that I'm going to shelve it for the rest of the season. I just didn't want to throw it in that game, in that situation. He said, I'm still going to use it. Might use it against some of these lefties to get in on their hands.
Mark Teixeira, broken back fly ball. That's going to drop fair and go up against the wall. Teixeira got sawed off, and the ball goes all the way to the wall in right for a 1-out double. 16th double of the season for Teixeira.
You want to talk about an explosion right here. Marco throws that ball right down the middle and jams up Mark Teixeira. Watch how far the bat hit goes. All the way out to second base, but he's strong enough to muscle the ball down the line for extra bases. Yankees had 3 hits yesterday, 3 hits the day before. That is hit number 1 this afternoon.
A broken bat double. Don't see that very often. This is Brian McCann. McCann 9 for 28 against Marco Estrada. McCann was behind the plate yesterday, went 0 for 2 with a walk. Grounded into a double play and struck out. Yankees have not scored a run in 28 straight innings. And been shut out 3 times in a row. One and 0 to McCann. Now it's 2-0.
They've got their veteran hitters in the lineup this afternoon. Teixeira, McCann, Headley, Ellsbury, Gardner. So you might see a little bit better approach this afternoon than what we've seen the first 2 games.
But yesterday, with McCann batting and Torres behind him, they walked McCann into 5th and got a double play. Different story with Headley batting behind him this afternoon. He floats that changeup down low. It's 3-0. Marco understands that McCann's going to have the green light. The Yankees been shut out 3 games in a row. Joe Girardi's not going to put the shackles on any of his hitters.
No, go ahead and swing away. You're facing a pretty hot pitcher right now. You might get the only pitch to swing at. 3-0.
He takes the strike.
Taken all the way there. He might have been doing that on his own.
Fastball, 88 miles an hour, best fastball of the game so far.
Up, tough to pick that ball up and do anything with it. This is where he's been so tough. He can drop a curveball in now with 2 strikes. He can go back to the changeup, or he can go back upstairs with that high fastball.
Throw him the changeup, and McCann takes ball 4.
Swing for the fences and save during the DIY expert sale. Only at Home Building Center and Home Hardware Building Center.
Beautiful afternoon in Toronto. The roof is wide open. It's 17 degrees and certainly a fall day here. Chase Headley anticipating a fastball. Swings right through that changeup.
Now, why would you anticipate a fastball from a changeup artist? I think as a hitter, you need to go up there and just look for the baseball.
He probably felt after the walk that he'd want to get ahead of him. And he did with the changeup. 0-1, 1 out. Now it's 0-2. Pat, you hit for a long time in the big leagues, and you see a guy like Marco Estrada. Why, in your mind, is he so effective with basically just kind of marginal stuff when you really look at it?
Well, he doesn't line up the radar gun. Okay, that's fine, but he's got 3 pitches that he can throw at any time and get you out. He can get you out in different ways. Up and in, down and away, frontwards to backwards.
Little looper that's going to drop for a base hit. Teixeira's going to stop at third. Carrera comes in quickly and keeps Teixeira at third base. So Headley loops a base hit into left field with 2 strikes.
Just off the end of the bat. Finds the outfield grass. Again, so he can get you out, down and away, up and in, backwards and forwards. I call it north, south, east, and west. He can get you out. That time right off the end of the bat. One other thing he does that I think is very deceiving to the hitters is he really picks his left arm up with his glove and he hides the ball, and it's almost like he's throwing his glove at the batter, hiding the ball for a long time, and all of a sudden that other arm comes out and bam, the ball's on top of you. There's a lot of deception in his delivery.
This is young Mason Williams starting in right field. Williams is 25 years old, the former 4th round pick of the Yankees in 2010. Bases loaded, 1 out. That might have been a cutter right there.
Looked like a cutter. Looked like he was trying to put that ball down and away, and came up and in. Infield at double play depth. You see him right there. Any ball to Josh Donaldson. Looks like he's going to come home unless he has to go to his left.
Williams, a tough man to double up. He is the fastest man in the Yankees organization. He can fly, and he'll be a tough guy to double up. He got into 8 games last year when he was called up late in the season. He had a home run, had 3 RBIs this season. This is his 8th game. Fouls it back.
Sure, he has had his scouting reports and has talked to some of the other hitters on the Yankee roster about what Marco Estrada will feature. Right now he's got to be unpredictable. Show him a pitch that Williams has never seen before.
Great changeup. 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Wow. Boy, didn't get an out. 4 runs on 5 hits, including a home run. He's out of the game. Ronald Torreyes, number 9 hitter, playing at second base this afternoon. He goes after the first pitch. Torreyes hit a triple in the 8th inning in the alley in right center. Michael Saunders is playing him straight away. You'd think he might Playing him a little more in that alley, kind of bunch him in right center.
He showed some pop in that the game yesterday into right center field. Triple. Hit that ball hard, but it looks like Michael Saunders in right field is playing him more towards the line.
0-2. Well, we mentioned how well the Blue Jays have pitched with runners in scoring position as a team. In the series, the Yankees are 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Estrada now a strike away. The appeal down to first and no swing, according to Todd Tishner. Now it's 1-2.
Came right back with the curveball, and that was by design to bounce it. Reyes looked like he held up.
Popped up, playable. Donaldson, the third baseman, shading his eyes, and Estrada has done it again. He leaves the bases loaded, strikes out Williams, and then gets Torres to pop out. Marco Estrada keeps it a scoreless game as we head to the bottom of the second.
And the rest of Team Canada taking in today's ball game after their big semifinal win over Russia last night. And a reminder, you can catch the other semifinal of the World Cup of Hockey, Europe versus Sweden, on right now on CBC and Sportsnet 1. Buck?
Well, we want to congratulate Team Canada for the big win in the semis over Russia, and they will be playing in the finals against a team yet to be determined. So what a terrific effort and a great atmosphere last night at ACC.
Great atmosphere where we were watching the game too, wasn't it?
It was good.
Exciting.
Everybody in town all across the country wrapped up in that hockey game. Of course, the hockey players are great baseball fans. A lot of them play baseball in the summer as kids, and they continue to follow the Blue Jays very closely. Troy Tulowitzki leading things off here in the second. Tulowitzki got the homestand started on a positive note on Friday night. A 2-run double in the first inning. He had a 2-run single in the seventh. A terrific series so far for Tulowitzki.
He's been a great RBI guy, hitting for the most part sixth for the Blue Jays. He's up to 77 RBIs this season. spent some time on the disabled list with a quad injury, missed some time, got back in and started swinging it. Hasn't stopped.
Fouls out one back. It seems as though the focus is really clear for these Blue Jays now. Pitchers have been great. Even though they have committed a lot of errors, it's contributed to just one unearned run that's had a difference in a ball game. And the hitting has been clutch. We've even seen a couple of bunts this month. Something you don't see very often.
Yeah, they don't do that a whole lot.
Breaking ball bounced to shortstop. Gregorius takes his time, throws a strike. 108. Well, TBS is here in town, and Cal Ripken Jr. is here in town as a color analyst. But this inning, he's working the camera. And he's had a good time. We had a chance to visit with Cal earlier in the day. And boy, you talk about a photographic memory. He talked about his all-star game performance in the home run contest in '91. And all the great memories he had of this ballpark.
Said he had a great batting practice that day back in '91. He went to him and said, you know, we don't have to do the games from where the normal people do the games, the broadcasters. Maybe we can move around the stadium. So they put him down on the field so he can give everybody the perspective that he did when he was a player. He says you can see the players moving around a little bit better. He says you can even read the lips of the manager when you're that close. Well,
I guarantee he's running that camera very efficiently as well. Everything he does well.
I bet you he's got it on the shortstop. What do you think? Just zeroed in on the shortstop.
What a great player. Obviously the Hall of Famer, MVP, World Series champion. You say his name, you know it just screams baseball. Ball and 2 strikes to Michael Saunders. He loses his bat. That's going to skip into the Yankees dugout.
That goes one way, ball goes the other way. Looks like everybody's okay.
Yankees just giving the bat right back. When you and I played, they would have broken it and handed it back in pieces.
Yeah, stepped on it first. Put some cleat marks on there. Cal, did you get the bat? Is that Cal's camera right there? Following the bat into the dugout. Good shot.
Breaking ball down and in. Now it's 2-2 with 1 out. Saunders did not play in the game yesterday. He was in there Friday. He finished a 0 for 2 with a walk on Friday night. Pineda really overthrew that breaking ball and bounced it in the dirt.
He's trying to get the strikeout. So those last 2 sliders, he overthrew them. And that's what happens. You rush yourself just a little bit. You're out front. You throw it just a little bit harder. You end up bouncing it. Sit back and just smooth it out. Slow it down. There. That's a better one.
2 away. Second strikeout of the game.
A lot has changed in 40 years, but one thing hasn't. Honda, proud fan since 1977, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful afternoon here in Toronto, and we have had some great shots of this ballpark over the weekend. Oh, and 1 to Kevin Pillar. Pillar 2 for 7 in the series. He took an 0 for yesterday. Blue Jays, he only had 6 hits. One big swing of the bat provided all the runs in the entire game. A 3-run home run by Bautista in the 8th.
CC Sabathia was great. The left-hander had a good slider, good changeup. He was spotting his fastball. Blue Jays couldn't figure him out.
Marcus Stroman and CC Sabathia, the starters. Stroman one up Sabathia. He allowed just 1 hit. Sabathia gave up 4. Neither gave up any runs. 1-2 to Pilar. Way outside. You know what I'd do if I was hitting against Pineda? I'd take all the breaking balls. I don't think he throws enough strikes with it.
Until he shows that he's going to throw it for a strike. There's another one.
3 up, 3 down, a couple of strikeouts in the inning. We've played 2 innings on a gorgeous afternoon in Toronto. It's scoreless. Marco Estrada delivers a first pitch strike to Brett Gardner. Estrada pitched out of a bases loaded 1-out situation in the second and left the bases loaded. Got a strikeout and a pop out. Brett Gardner bunts. I'm surprised he hasn't tried that earlier. He's got great speed, but it rolls foul. Gardner popped out to the shortstop his first time in.
He's got great speed. You're right. But the Blue Jays have taken that bunt away from him this whole series, both at third base and at first base. You know, 2 strikes. You can see Josh Donaldson has dropped back.
Another pop-up into center field. Kevin Pilar coming in. He's there. Gardner makes the first out of the top of the third. Boy, Estrada, he'll get a lot of weak contact, man. He goes back and forth, and Pat, you and I talked about why he's so effective. He never allows you to get a good feel on the timing of pitches. One pitch is out in front, the next one he pushes you back. You're just constantly going back and forth trying to chase the velocity of his pitches.
True pitcher, and that was on full display last inning when the bases were loaded. You're just talking about that, and they strand them. All 3 of the runners, you had a couple of young hitters. They haven't seen Marco's changeup. They haven't seen his curveball, and he just totally surprised them. Strike out and a pop out to get out of that inning.
Ellsbury hits a high fly ball. Carrera, the left fielder, calling for it. Chew away.
This Blue Jays Rogers 4K broadcast is powered by the Samsung 4K SUHD TV.
Great crowd on hand here once again as the Blue Jays will have another sellout. They've had 36 sellout crowds here at Rogers Center this season. They have passed the 3 million mark in season attendance. Gary Sanchez struck out on a high fastball his first time up.
You know, the one thing that Marco does do is he gives up a lot of fly balls. John Gibbons knows that. That's why he's got Carrera in left field this afternoon. Anticipating a lot of balls hit into the outfield. A lot of pop-ups from him. Not a lot of ground balls. I think that's what makes what he has done since he's become a starter here with the Blue Jays impressive. Pitching in the American League East with these big lineups in these small ballparks, being a fly ball pitcher. Which you're right on with the weak contact. A lot of balls off the end of the bat.
Sanchez is in between. Doesn't know what to look for. Takes a fastball strike on the outside corner. Marco has held the opponents to a .205 batting average. Curveball hit on the ground. Tulowitzki gathers it up. 3 up, 3 down. Estrada has retired 5 in a row. To go to the bottom of the third, still no score.
Brought to you by Rogers 4K TV. Get closer to the action with 4 times the resolution of HD alone.
Every Sunday at Rogers Center, the Blue Jays salute the Canadian Armed Forces, and today they salute Corporal Anil Carbello. As a medic, he spent his career providing first-line medical care on both domestic and international operations. Corporal Anil Carbello, today's Sunday salute.
What a terrific moment, and good on the Blue Jays to honor these great men and women from the Canadian Forces every Sunday here at home. Another great ball game going on. No score. That's what we had yesterday. No score into the 8th. Boy, the pitching has really stepped up for the Blue Jays, hasn't it? I mean, they've been good all year long, but they've taken it to another level here in September.
Just in the right time, and it's not just the starters, the relievers have been lights out also.
There's a different feel in the clubhouse for the Blue Jays right now. A little extra keen focus.
You know, it seemed to start, Buck, when the team landed in Seattle, and the great crowds that the Blue Jays had in Seattle. It just seems to have raised everybody's game. And then we come home here to Rogers Center, and you get sellout crowds, and they're enthusiastic, and they're fired up, and the players feel it.
You know what? You get into a 162-game season, and oftentimes it's easy to forget the significance of what you do on a daily basis. And that crowd in Seattle is a good reminder. Hey, these are big games. Blue Jays responded very well. Won 2 of 3 and lost the 3rd game in the 12th inning.
Could have easily won that ball game. Left a couple of runners on base, you know, with less than 2 outs. Could have easily won that game. And I think the crowd really pumped up the guys.
Foul back. It's a full count to Carrera. Top of the order will follow Devin Travis and Josh Donaldson. Breaking ball called. Strike 3. Pineda has struck out 3 in a row.
There's a lot of confidence in that slider for the month of September. He's given up a 167 batting average against that slider. Carrera was not expecting this. 3-1. It was a high fastball. He swung at it, so he was expecting another fastball. And Pineda locks him up with a breaking ball. Pretty impressive. He is starting to show some confidence in that slider now.
Devin Travis grounded out to 3rd base. Tried to check his swing and went around. Devin is 25 years old. Of course, the Blue Jays got him in a trade from the Detroit Tigers. November 13, 2014, they traded Anthony Gose for Devin Travis. Breaking ball, and Pineda strikes him out. Gary Sanchez didn't know how many outs there were. Pineda did. That's just 2 outs. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, leading the way with tires that deliver superior performance in clutch situations. Goodyear, more driven. Boy, they've had a great weekend to shoot those beautiful shots of Rogers Center, CN Tower, the Center Island, the Inner Harbor. It's been terrific. Beautiful weather, beautiful weekend. Gary Sanchez was halfway to the dugout. Thought it was the 3rd out of the inning. 4 straight strikeouts for Pineda. Starting to get the feel for that breaking ball.
Yeah, he's starting to throw it for strikes, so the Blue Jays are going to have to deal with that.
0-2. Donaldson double to right his first time up. He has the only Blue Jays hit on the afternoon.
You know what that strikeout was also? His 200th of the season. So they threw the ball out of play, and now they're going to mark that one up.
Well, maybe that's why Gary Sanchez was running it over to the dugout.
He was running it over to Steve Donahue right there, so he can write it up and record a 200 strikeout season.
Donaldson loses his bat as Pineda strikes out the side. That's 5 strikeouts in a row for Pineda. We'll go to the 4th. There's no score in this game. And here comes the Ultimate Cleanup Crew, brought to you by Home Hardware. It's the exclusive line of the ultimate hard-hitting and tough-on-grime cleaning products. Marco Estrada and Michael Pineda in another pitcher's duel here this afternoon. Yesterday it was Stroman and Sabathia. Today, Estrada and Pineda.
Keep pitching up those zeros. That's what you have to, so you can get that big base hit.
Another fly ball, routine fly ball to center. Pilar waits on it. Gregorius is retired, one away. Boy, how many times have you heard over the course of your career in broadcasting and playing, keep the ball down, keep the ball out of the air? Well, Marco Estrada is the opposite. He relishes on soft fly balls. Yeah, he'll give up his share of home runs, but boy, he does a good job of taking the sting out of the bat.
He doesn't have one ground ball today, does he? 2 strikeouts, 4 pop-ups, 4 fly ball outs, and there's 1 ground out. Sanchez last inning ended the 3rd inning. 1 ground ball out. But what he does, he gives up his share of fly ball outs, but they aren't hit very hard.
Teixeira fights off that high fastball. Mark hit a broken bat double all the way to the wall in right field in the 2nd inning. I mean, Estrada sawed him off. The bat exploded. The barrel went out onto the infield dirt, and the ball went all the way to the wall in right. Ground ball. Travis out onto the outfield. Goes to first. There's a 2nd ground out. 2 away. Well, we mentioned just how good this Bull Jays pitching staff has been. And you look over the last 9 games, it's almost identical what the rotation has done and what the bullpen has done.
And you know what that means? Wins for the Blue Jays. You're going to get that. Rotations ERA 133, bullpen 132. Opponent's batting average just about the same.
Another fly ball. Easy inning for Marco Estrada. Took him just 8 pitches to retire the side in order. Marco is in a groove. No score as we head to the bottom of the 4th.
Celebrate Canada's team far and wide by sharing your Blue Jays cheer, like James Hummel from Pickering, Ontario. Visit RogersCelebrates.com. Back.
Thank you very much, Hazel. That's a beautiful shot of CN Tower and the people doing the edge walk at CN Tower, and you couldn't ask for a better day. I guarantee you they can see Niagara Falls from there.
Yes. Didn't we see it from up there?
Yep.
We could see
when
it.
I had my eyes open.
You'll have them open on Wednesday, won't you?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Chance to go to the Goodyear blimp.
All those great shots yesterday and today. Thank you for the Goodyear blimp.
Edwin Encarnacion with a 1-1 count. Pineda has 5 strikeouts in a row. Encarnacion checked his swing. The appeal to first. Practitioner said no swing, so it's a 3-1 count.
Well, I think this pitch will tell you everything you need to know about Pineda versus Encarnacion. Is he going to challenge him with a fastball? No. That wasn't his good fastball right there. Took a little something off. It was 92.
Full count. Bautista will bat next. Ground ball to short. Gregorius gobbles it up across the diamond in time. 1 away. That ends a streak of 5 straight strikeouts for Pineda. Jose Bautista, 20 home runs this season. Of course, his home run yesterday was the difference in the ball game. But 14 of his 20 home runs have given the Blue Jays the lead. I mean, that's coming through in pressurized situations. He takes that breaking ball. Of course, Bautista, taking a walk in the first, has extended his on-base streak to 32 straight games. He's hit .274 over the previous 31 games.
Pineda's in one of those grooves. I told you he's had 11 strikeouts in his last start. That was just 5 1/3 innings. He's doing it again today. I mean, he's throwing hard. And his breaking ball's got some bite to it this afternoon.
Bautista high and deep to left. This one's gonna go. Home run, Jose Bautista. Number 21.
I think he's starting to heat up. He homered off of a fireballer and Edwin Diaz in Seattle. Tied that game up. He homered off of Tyler Clippard yesterday off of a fastball. And now this afternoon, a fireballer in Michael Pineda, who's been striking out Blue Jay batters, 6 of them in 3 innings. Jose turns that fastball around.
Home run number 21 for Bautista. Another home run that gives the Blue Jays the lead. The 15th time he's done that this season. And Kevin Pillar, he gets a little asterisk because that's his bat he's using.
That's an assist. In basketball, that's called an assist.
And he'll take it. Boy, what a big swing by Bautista. That's the 3rd home run he's hit off of Michael Pineda. He only has 5 hits against him.
He timed up that fastball beautifully. Challenges him. Fastball right there. And you can tell from the trajectory and the sound that one's not coming back.
You don't need to know what the exit velocity is on those when you see the bat go through and the sound of the bat crack.
A lot.
It was a lot.
Kevin Pillar, there's the bat that we were telling you about. He hit the 3-run home run yesterday with Kevin's bat. Players will do that from time to time. One thing, they go up there and say, hey, your bat feels pretty good. he used that for a while. We've seen the Blue Jays use Nolan Arenado's bat a few times this year.
Martin strikes out, 2 away. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. For Kim, that's just his 5th home run of the season, but a very timely one for Baltimore. Boston leads Tampa Bay 2-1 down in St. Petersburg. They're in the top of the 3rd. And wouldn't you know it, that little feisty second baseman has hit another home run. He hit a grand slam last night. Dustin Pedroia's hit a home run here this afternoon.
There's a few of those feisty second basemen. I wasn't real sure which one you were talking about. There have been a few of them this year.
Troy Tulowitzki behind 0-1. Two. Tulowitzki in a hole. Fights off that fastball. We mentioned Cal Ripken is here with the TBS television crew, serving as a color analyst. Tulowitzki reminds me a lot of Cal Ripken. The way he goes about his business, very much a professional manner each and every day. Doesn't show a lot of emotions. And there's Cal down in the camera well. He's doing his analysis from field level today. But the Hall of Famer and Tulowitzki, to me, they have a lot of similar traits.
Quiet, always into the game, helping out your teammates.
Rather talk about the teammates than themselves, that's for sure.
But smart, sees things that normal people don't see in the game. Hey, you might want to pitch this guy inside. He's been diving out over the plate. Something Tulowitzki said earlier.
Ground ball up the middle. Correas throws the first. That'll end the inning, but the Blue Jays get another big home run from Jose Bautista. His 21st has given the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Orlando nonstop on WestJet. Doesn't that sound like a good time? For low WestJet fares and daily flights, you can book your getaway today at WestJet.com or call your travel agent.
Marco Estrada has a 1-0 lead as he throws a first pitch strike to Chase Headley. Headley looped a single into left field with 2 strikes back in the second. The Yankees had a couple of hits in that inning. Neither one hit particularly well. Mark Teixeira had a broken bat double, if you can believe that. The barrel went all the way out to second base. Swinging and foul tip. Martin with the grab. Headley is retired. 9 in a row set down by Estrada. And boy, we have seen this time and time again since he has come to the Blue Jays. He will get on a roll and just string together outs one right after another.
11 to start the ball game last time, then a couple of walks, and then 7 more before they got their first hit. And I'll tell you, that sequence right there that he had against Chase Headley, Chase might be talking to himself right now down on the bench. He threw him 3 straight fastballs, and he wasn't looking for a fastball in any of those pitches. He was looking for a changeup, something off speed. Threw 3 fastballs right by him. That's the ability to pitch and be unpredictable. Let's give a little credit to Russell Martin also behind the plate. He's catching him for the 2nd straight time.
Well, let's give a lot of credit to Russell Martin because Estrada doesn't shake any pitches off. Russell is the author of this effort today. And Mark will tell you, he said, I just want to get the ball. He said, I learned it from Mark Burley. Get the ball, execute the pitch. That way the pitcher doesn't have to think about theory. He only has to think about execution.
And he can work quicker. He can keep everybody engaged. He can just think about making pitches and work quickly. You do that, I tell you, everybody wins.
Another good fastball. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 2 away. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Wow. 3rd pitcher for the Tigers, and they're putting one on there in Kansas City. Is doing a great job against that Tiger team at home at Comerica. Of course, the Tigers, they had worked their way into that 2nd wild card spot, and then Baltimore won their game. The Tigers lost. So now the Orioles have taken the 2nd wild card berth for the time being. They are a half a game ahead of Detroit at the start of play today. Baltimore currently leads the Arizona Diamondbacks 2-0 at the end of 2 in Baltimore. Ground ball. Tulowitzki to his right, quickly fires a strike to first. 3 up, 3 down. Estrada is on a roll once again. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. 1-0 Blue Jays.
crispy green chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are guests of TD. And fans, follow Blue Jays baseball live on your phone and tablet with the MLB.com At-Bat app. Customize At-Bat to feature the Blue Jays and stay up to the moment at any moment with scores, news, live game video highlights, and much more. Download MLB.com At-Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. But
Thank you, Hazel. What an afternoon to be at the ballpark. A lot of fans have made their way into the WestJet flight deck, having a good afternoon of baseball, and the Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Thanks to another home run off the bat of Jose Bautista. You know, Pat, when you go into the postseason, it's always the team that carries the momentum into the start of the postseason. And right now, the Blue Jays are peaking at the right time.
I think that's what everybody's hoping for. You know, as they finish up the last week of the regular season, you start to get the pitching working, the hitting, the timely hitting. You start to play better defense. And you're right, just that momentum. And it's a thought process. When I come to the ballpark, I expect to win. And I get that feeling now being around the clubhouse with the Blue Jays.
Jason Grilli had a little impromptu discussion with his bullpen mates, talking about, hey, boys, we got to empty the tank every time our name is called. There's no reason to keep anything back right now. You come out, you fire as hard as you can for as long as you can, and we're running out of time.
What did they used to say? You got the whole off season to rest up. So let it go every day.
2-1 to Michael Saunders. Fouls this one back. Ripped up the middle. Tough play by Headley. He completes the play. Boy, the third baseman was playing straight up behind the bag. He got a tough hop as he had to back up to play the hop. They made a nice play on Saunders.
What's interesting about that, the first couple pitches of the at-bat, he was at third base. And then once it got to 2 strikes, Chase Headley positioned himself behind the bag, and Didi Gregorius went back to shortstop. He played that perfectly, backed up, got himself a nice little hop, and then threw on to first base for the first out. That's the biggest change, I think, in baseball we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years. The shifts have taken away a lot of hits back through the middle.
Millar is retired on 1 pitch, grounds out to third. So Chase Headley credited with 2 putouts this inning, but it won't really tell the whole story. The first one, he was directly behind the bag at second.
He got rid of that ball quickly too. Did you see that? How he backed up, got it from the backhand, and then had to get rid of it quick.
Ezequiel Carrera loops one behind short. Didi Gregorius is going to get there, and what a quick inning for Pineda. Just 7 pitches, 3 up, 3 down. We'll go to the 6th, but the Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Thank you very much, Jamie Campbell. Marco Estrada has allowed just 2 hits. He has a 1-0 lead over the Yankees. Top of the order for New York. Brett Gardner has popped out and flied out. Estrada has retired 11 in a row. Ground ball to Tulowitzki. Run away. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, leading the way with tires that deliver superior performance in clutch situations. Goodyear, more driven. Well, this is a shot from the Goodyear blimp. That's the Lancaster Bomber that's flying around Toronto. A gorgeous afternoon to be flying around. What a beautiful aircraft that is.
How about the shot that they got from there? Look at it. You can see the propellers going around, thing dipping. That's cool. It's like you're sitting on the wing.
Kobe Ellsbury, he has flied out twice. You can look for the changeup. You can anticipate the changeup, but when Marco is executing his delivery, you can't hit it.
He's got one of the lowest batting averages on changeups this season. In fact, the 3rd lowest. There's another one. Kyle Hendricks of the Cubs, #1 at 126. Michael Fulmer from Detroit, #2 at 151, and then Marco Estrada, a batting average of 161 against the changeup. He gets his share of swings and misses too on that great changeup.
Popped up between home plate and the mound. Josh Donaldson coming in from 3rd, and he makes the catch. 2 away. Let's check in quickly with Jamie Campbell. Number 27 for Victor Martinez, and the Tigers, they've got the firepower to come back in that game. They trail by 3 now. Gary Sanchez, he's 0 for 2 this afternoon, 0 for 6 in the series. Check that. Sanchez had 2 hits in the opener. He's 0 for his last 7. 0 for 4 last night, 0 for 2 this afternoon.
Double off the wall in his first at bat in this series. And now Marco, he's struck him out today, and he also got him to ground out. A couple of fastballs right now. He's sped up his swing because of those fastballs.
0-2.
We might see something off speed. Back upstairs.
Nothing wrong with that one. Estrada threw a good fastball inside. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Sanchez is having some trouble. Looks like swatting at a fly or a bee or something. He's still swatting away probably a bee, and we saw this in Anaheim with a swarm of bees, but now he's trying to get it away.
Yeah, we saw that. They had to stop the game for 13 minutes because of the bees. Russell saying, "Is it on me?"
Bill Cuzzy said, "Stand still, I'll get it for you." Okay, now we're set. It's 1-2 to Sanchez. Came right at him with another fastball.
High fastball. That was in a good spot right there. Straighten him up.
Curveball on the ground. Travis from the shortstop side of second. In time. Nice dig at first by Encarnacion. Edwin staying with the low throw. The Yankees are going to have a look at the video. See if they want to challenge the call at first. Travis went on the shortstop side of second, made the play. The Yankees say we concede the out. Good play by Devin Travis. A ground ball hit softly. He ranges to the shortstop side, gets some help on the other end, and Encarnacion digs it out. Estrada has retired 14 in a row.
Go beyond the ballpark in 2016? Well, join the Jays Care Foundation Young Professionals roster. For more information, visit www.jayscare.com.
Another great crowd on hand here this afternoon at Rogers Center. It's a final weekend for these fans this regular season. Baltimore will be in town starting Tuesday night for the final 3-game series at home. Then the Blue Jays will go to Boston. Of course, you all know that. Everybody's counting down each and every game now.
You count them on one hand, can't you? No, 2 hands. I don't even know. 7 games left after today?
After today, 7 games. That's it. Hard to imagine we are in the final week of the season tomorrow. So for the Blue Jays, it'll be top of the order in this 1-0 game. A beautiful pitcher's duel. Devin Travis takes the first pitch strike. We mentioned this time of the year, you look to the veteran hitters to come through against tough pitchers, and again today Josh Donaldson has a double, Jose Bautista a home run, the only 2 hits the Blue Jays have recorded. They have been down this path before. They have the experience not to get rattled, not to put too much pressure on themselves. I spoke to Bautista about that this morning. I said, man, you come up with some big hits. He says, I try not to get too excited in those pressurized situations.
We're seeing that out of the bullpen too with some of the veterans, Benoit and really coming in big situations and not being wowed by the moment, if you will.
Travis takes ball 4, a leadoff walk here in the 6th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Josh Donaldson hit a double to right, and then Bautista homered. That's been it. The only 2 hits for the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Donaldson faked a bunt, took a strike.
That just tells you how tough Pineda is. Leadoff walk. Donaldson was thinking about bunting himself on. He might be better off hitting a ball to the right side. Look at the hole that he can shoot for. Pineda with that slider. Maybe it go that way.
Ground ball. Gregorius hits short, quickly to second for one. Back to first. Double play. Gregorius did a good job. The ball wasn't that sharply hit, but he came after it and got it to Reyes quickly at second.
And he had to catch it on the in-between hop. He has played some good defense. I mean, he is taking over for a legend. You see him come after it and then have to catch it on the in-between hop. He stays down, gives Reyes a good feed, and the Yankees turn their 109th double play of the season. And that's a big one after the leadoff walk.
Gregorius now in his second season with the Yankees has really settled in. Edwin Encarnacion struck out in the first. He took a breaking ball for strike 3 and then grounded out in the 4th. Little pop up into shallow right. Long run for Williams. He's not going to get there. Encarnacion dumps one into right for a 2-out single. Drive of the game brought to you by Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays, proud fans since 1977.
It's 1-0, so who else but Jose Bautista? His drive off of Michael Pineda. It was a fastball. Pineda's given up a 341 average off of a fastball. And Jose says thank you very much as he launches his 21st home run. Right now, the only run of the game. Thanks to him, our drive of the game.
Jose walked and homered. Ball gets away from Sanchez, and Encarnacion will go to second. And ball in the dirt, tough to handle. That hard slider down and away. It'll be a wild pitch charge to Pineda.
When he overthrows that slider, trying to get a strikeout or a big strike to a tough hitter, that's when he's liable to bounce it, and it's tough for a catcher to even block the ball, let alone trying to keep it in front of him. Sanchez, he's getting better as a catcher. There's still some work to be done behind the plate. He's an offensive catcher. One more time, he slides over there, just can't square up that ball and keep it in front of him. So it'll go as a wild pitch.
Yankees bullpen is going to work. That's Adam Warren, the right-hander, loosening up. Down in the right field bullpen. Say 1-1 count to Bautista. Joe Girardi has seen his club struggle to score runs. Every run is crucial for the Yankees. They can ill afford to fall much further behind. Inside fastball, he fights it off. We mentioned Bautista now has 15 of his 20 home runs, or 21 home runs, that has given the Blue Jays the lead. He has really been clutch all season long. One ball, 2 strikes.
Pineda thought he had him. Once again, he thought he dropped that slider in there for strike 3.
Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, checking on the bullpen, and as he was hanging up, he was getting on the umpire. That's what pitching coaches do. That's off the glove of Sanchez, and Encarnacion will go to third. That should be a pass ball charge to the catcher.
And quite possibly a cross-up. He was expecting breaking ball. Watch him duck. He gets the fastball and right off of the glove to the backstop.
And you can see him cheating to his right, anticipating getting a breaking ball, and by the time he recognizes it's not going to break, it's too late. And I've been in that situation before. It feels like your glove weighs 100 pounds. You can't possibly get it up there in time to make the catch. And Encarnacion just 90 feet away. You got to think about that slider in the dirt now. Bautista takes ball 4. He's been on base 3 times this afternoon. Pineda with 3 walks in the game, and that's going to be it. Joe Girardi not pleased with the umpire. You can see him shaking his head as he walked toward the mound. They didn't say anything to Phil Cuzzy, but he has made the call. So they'll go to the bullpen. Michael Pineda has allowed just 3 hits, but he leaves trailing the Blue Jays. 2 runners on base, his responsibility. Adam Warren coming out of the pen to face Russell Martin.
Get your 2017 season ticket memberships. Season ticket member benefits include access to season ticket member exclusive events and enrollment in My Blue Jays member program. Just visit bluejays.com/season tickets. And who wouldn't want to be a part of this electric atmosphere, Bud?
It's been terrific, Hazel, that's for sure. And the fans have turned out, and the Blue Jays have responded accordingly. They have a 1-0 lead. New pitcher into the game is Adam Warren.
Yankees reacquired Adam Warren from the Chicago Cubs, part of that Aroldis Chapman trade right at the deadline. This is his 25th appearance with the Yankees, 55th overall this season. 6-4, 490 earned run average. He can pitch in multiple dimensions for him. He can be a short man, a long man. He can make some starts for you if you need to. He can also get you out of an inning. That's what Michael Pineda is hoping for right here.
Ball in the dirt. There's been a wild pitch and a pass ball in this inning. Pineda allowed just 3 hits, but he's on the hook for the loss. Martin hits it on the ground. Perez at second, goes to first, and Warren gets out of it. The Blue Jays leave a pair of base runners aboard. We'll go to the 7th. Blue Jays and Marco Estrada have a 1-0 lead.
presented by the all-new 2017 Ridgeline. A lot of things have changed, but one thing hasn't. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays, proud fan since 1977.
Didi Gregorius goes after the first pitch and pulls it into the seats foul. Downstairs, the Yankees in between innings were having quite a heated discussion with the home plate umpire, Phil Cuzzy, questioning his strike zone. There's a high deep drive to right. Saunders back at the track, at the wall. This ball is gone. Didi Gregorius hits his 19th home run of the season, his second of the season against Estrada, and it's tied just like that.
The Yankees were shut out on Wednesday, or excuse me, they scored 11 runs on Wednesday, and they've been shut out in every game until that right there. Yesterday was the 13th time they were shut out. That's an AL high. 6 of those coming in the month of September. Today, Marco Estrada had shut him out here until the 7th inning. High fastball, and Didi gets on top of that one and knocks it out here, tying up the ball game.
That snaps a streak of 33 consecutive innings the Yankees have been shut out. Gregorius, with a no stride approach, gets that high fastball, and it's his 19th home run of the season. And it's a 1-1 game. Teixeira with an 0-2 count. Looked like Cuzzy thought about calling it strike 3, but had second thoughts.
Yeah, he was standing up. Well, it looked like he was standing up to call it.
On away again. Outside, 3-2. The home run surrendered by Estrada, the 23rd home run he's allowed this season. So the teams have had solo home runs, accounting for the only runs of this game. Teixeira strikes out. 5 strikeouts for Estrada.
Tried to nibble on that outside corner with fastballs. Got the 3-2. Now he's going to throw him that great changeup again. Number 5 on the afternoon.
The home run by Gregorius snapped a streak of 14 straight retired by Estrada. Good curveball to McCann. Brian McCann, the catcher. The crowd has gone silent here at Rogers Center. They should realize it's a 1-1 game.
Get excited. And the last home run for the Yankees was by Solano down in Tampa. That was the last time the Bronx Bombers had hit a home run before that blast by Gregorius.
Three and one now. Marco has thrown 85 pitches. He's still in good shape in that regard. Chase Headley is on deck. He'll bat after McCann. Pete Walker going to go to the phone and get somebody throwing. McCann hits it into right. That's going to get down in front of Saunders. So Brian McCann delivers a 1-out base hit.
Oh, he was looking for the changeup that time, and he got it. And luckily for the Blue Jays, he didn't get it up into the air, but now he's going to be gone.
Eric Young Jr. has come off the bench to pinch run for Brian McCann. It's a 1-1 game, so McCann is out of the ball game. He is the DH this afternoon. Eric Young Jr. taking over as the pinch runner at first.
So you don't bring in a guy to pinch run without him trying to steal. That's Brett Cecil now just starting to get loose. So you got to anticipate that Eric Young Jr. is going to try and steal.
He doesn't have a stolen base attempt this season with the Yankees, but he has just been called up. He's only been in 3 games. Estrada will check him back into first. Young spent his season in AAA with the Milwaukee Brewers in Colorado Springs. He had 23 stolen bases and was caught 6 times. So you can bet he's looking to run here. He gets a good jump. Martin's throw is a strong one, but it's high, and Young steals it. Good release, quick, strong throw, but it was high at second, and Young picks up a stolen base.
Just that extra split second when Tulowitzki had to reach for the ball. That allows Young to get in there one more time. You can see he takes off right away, change up. And there you see how he has to reach for the ball and then bring it back down. That just gives him that chance to get those feet in there before the tag. And he never left the bag. Tulo stays with that tag all the time, hoping that that runner will bounce off the bag.
Henley struck out on 3 fastballs back in the 5th. Estrada really mixed it up, and Henley went down swinging. Fouls it back. The Young steal his 145th stolen base in the big leagues. He's spent 8 years in the major leagues, and he picks up a big stolen base. Last year Young appeared in games with the Braves and the Mets. Henley gets a piece of that high fastball, actually high changeup. Left upstairs.
Yeah, he has that ability to use the changeup inside and outside, and Russell Martin called for that changeup inside, and it looked like he wanted it up also. That's the thing about that Marco Estrada changeup. He can control it to both sides of the plate.
2-2. He got him. Came right back with it again. This time Headley strikes out on a changeup. Second out of the inning.
Normally when you call for a changeup, you say, give it to me down. But this time, 2 straight times, that was a high changeup by design. You see Russell Martin up on his hunches, expecting that ball up. And Marco obliges by throwing a high changeup for the strikeout.
The home run. An interesting note on the home run. It was the first home run allowed by Toronto against the Yankees here at home in 40 innings. It had a string of 40 straight innings against the Yankees here at Rogers Center without allowing a home run. That's the most ever against any one team at home. Didi Gregorius snapping that streak. Mason Williams has struck out twice this afternoon.
When you see the front sides of hitters starting to collapse, it just shows you that that changeup is working. They can't wait back long enough, and that front side just collapse. Give it to him again.
popped up over the screen. 7th inning, the Yankees have tied it. It's 1-1. Yankees have 4 hits. The Blue Jays have 3 hits. Both runs coming on solo home runs. Bautista hit a home run in the 4th. Didi Gregorius a home run here leading off the 7th. Eric Young Jr. is at second base. He entered the game as a pinch runner. Ronald Torres is on deck, the second baseman. Ball 4, missed with the fastball, down and away. So it's first and second shootouts. Torres at second base. Defensively, he's 0 for 2.
Pump out and a ground out. Saw Brett Cecil warming up in the pen. This is probably going to be Marco Estrada's last batter of the day, so make it a good one.
First pitch curveball is fouled off. That's the 100th pitch Estrada has thrown this afternoon. And they've all been good ones.
That's a pretty good ratio right there. Long inning. This inning, a couple of strikeouts, a walk, home run, and a single. Started this inning in the low 80s. I think he had 84 when this inning started. So it's been a long inning for him.
It's going to reach the seats, out of play. Estrada's ahead 0-2.
Outfielders getting ready, anticipating the ball hit to him. There's been a lot of fly balls this afternoon.
Going back to the last visit by the Yankees here at Rogers Center, the Blue Jays had shut out the Yankees in 3 straight games. The home run by Gregorius snapped that streak. 1-2. He strikes him out. What a job by Estrada. Again, comes up with a big strikeout. He actually strikes out the side. 7 strikeouts in 7 innings. Estrada leaves with the game tied 1-1. For the Blue Jays, it'll be Tulowitzki, Saunders, and Pilar to face Adam Warren. Tulowitzki goes after the first pitch, and that's going to get down for a base hit. Ellsbury over to cut it out. Tulowitzki jumps on the first pitch. Hits the leadoff single.
We've been seeing that a lot from Tulo. Very aggressive when he gets into that batter's box. Adam Warren with a little slider first pitch. Tulo hits that right field stroke out once again. Waits on it. That's a pretty good pitch down and away, but a better swing, better contact. Watch how the head goes down. He stays right with it. Doesn't try and pull that ball and have himself a base hit.
Michael Saunders steps in. Chase Headley at third, guarding against the bunt.
Way in at third base.
Saunders squares the bunt, pulls the bat back.
Headley has made some great plays this afternoon. He is anticipating Saunders dropping that bunt down in front of him. If they take the bunt off here, that's when you can slash it by him.
Saunders was swinging away, takes ball 2. Bottom of the 7th, it's a 1-1 game. Everything's away. That last pitch called a strike.
That's good. I think if you're Michael Saunders, you got one defender on the left side of the infield. If they want to pitch you away over there, don't think about trying to pull it just yet. You got the 3 defenders on the right side. See if you can get it by the third baseman.
Breaking ball. He swings over the top. It's 2-2 now. Now Headley's going to move back behind the mound, his position where he made that good play on Saunders back in the 5th. He plays for the bunt until they get to 2 strikes, then he moves to this position, middle of the infield. The Tigers have scored a run. It's 9-5 Kansas City, but they're in the top of the 5th.
9-5 in the 5th inning.
Baltimore has a 2-1 lead over Arizona, top of the 5th. Boston leads Tampa Bay in St. Petersburg 2-1, bottom of the 5th. Saunders fights it off and delivers a base hit to left. Back-to-back singles here in the 7th.
Nice piece of hitting right there. That's what I mean. You got one defender on the whole left side of the infield. Cut it down, shorten it up. And even a little liner like this, a little cutter on your hands, you fight it off, just push it over there for a base hit. And now with runners at first and second, piece of hitting right there by Saunders. Everybody wants to make sure they're on the same page. You got the defense huddling up on the pitcher's mound. You got Troy Tulowitzki and the third base coach Tim Leeper talking about the signs. Leeper's the third base coach because Louis Rivera is away this weekend.
So Leeper went out and delivered the message to Tulowitzki personally. Gary Allenson is coaching at first. That's Leeper's normal assignment. Allenson, the AAA manager at Buffalo. He's coached the bases his entire career, so he knows what he's doing out there.
If the Blue Jays bunt again, and the sac bunt has been big so far in this series, make that third baseman field it.
Sanchez has a cannon for an arm, and Tulowitzki has to be aware if Pilar should bunt through it.
And he's not afraid to show it off either. Thrown out 36% of the base runners trying to steal. And he's not afraid to throw behind the runners. Chase Headley trying to get everybody's attention now. Looks like they might change the bunt sign. Third baseman usually gives the sign and then verbally tells the pitcher what's going on. They might have changed their bunt defense.
Pilar has one sacrifice bunt this season. He squares early.
They did.
Bunts it right back to the pitcher. They'll go to first. Pilar gets it done. Boy, Headley was crossing. They had the rotation play on where the shortstop covered third. But Pilar bunted it right back to the pitcher, and Warren went to first.
The wheel play was on. And what happens there is the shortstop breaks early and gets a running start to beat that runner at second base. Watch the Gregorius. He's got the running start, and you're trying to get the batter to punt into an out. But Pilar deadens that ball enough. He saw the ball just die right back to the mound, and that allowed two runners to move up. Saunders now has gone over to talk to Leeper to see, hey, what's going on here? What are we going to do? We're going to run the contact play? Everybody meeting again.
Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, to come out to tell the Yankee infielders what they want to do. Carrera is a threat to bunt, of course. He's the Blue Jays' best bunter. So they want to know how they want to play it. There's one out, runners at second and third in this tie game. Carrera had a bunt base hit in the 7th inning of Friday night's game. And that keyed a big 4-run inning. He led it off with a bunt base hit in the 7th.
I would give him one shot because he's such a good bunter. I give him one shot to drive it through the drawn in infield. Score 2 runs.
First pitch is away. Carrera's always looking around the infield where there might be a bunt possibility. Again, he's looking at that infield lineup, see where they're set up. Takes a strike. It's 1-1.
Very tough pitch. Breaking ball down and away. Lefties, Warren will use his fastball, his curveball a little bit more, and his changeup to left-handed batters.
Where it takes strike 2.
Hey, he's going to be around the plate. Adam Warren's got good control, good stuff. Doesn't walk too many batters, so you got to be ready to swing it.
Got to put the ball in play in this situation. Sanchez asks for time. Carrera has a base hit in his only at bat against Warren. Breaking ball in the dirt. He'll go to first, and that completes the strikeout. Big strikeout for Warren. But now Devin Travis. Here's a look at that breaking ball in the dirt.
By design, you throw it down there hoping that he'll go after it. And Carrera swings through it.
Devin Travis with 2 outs. He's 0 for 2 with the walk. Goes after the first pitch.
Blue Jays got to get this run in. Give Marco a chance to win this thing.
Devin Travis batting .342 with runners in scoring position. Takes strike 2. They've been throwing him a lot of breaking balls with 2 strikes.
Slow breaking balls. Slow breaking balls out of the strike zone. And Warren's got that. He's got a slow curveball.
Well, the crowd doesn't like this mound visit, but obviously this is a huge pitch in this ball game. Tulowitzki started it with a single to center. Michael Saunders had a base hit to left. Then Pilar sacrificed to move the runners to second and third. Carrera struck out, and now Devin Travis bats with an 0-2 count. Pilar dropped down a terrific sacrifice bunt. Outside.
That's his slider. He's got all 4 of the pitches. Fastball, changeup, curveball, slider. With 2 strikes, they go fastball slider, especially to righties.
Lays off that breaking ball. Two and two. Donaldson is on deck behind Travis. Tulowitzki and Saunders on base. Fouls it off.
Trying to sneak that fastball by him. Here is Sanchez is going to go back out now just to make sure he and Adam Warren are going to throw the pitch that he wants.
Sanchez had a pass ball earlier in the game when he was crossed up by Michael Pineda. Fastball went off his glove. Fastball away, and Travis strikes out. The Blue Jays leave runners in scoring position. We'll go to the 8th. It's a 1-1 game. With number 16 on his hat. That's in memory of Jose Fernandez, who was killed in a boating accident last night in Miami, just 24 years old, and many of the players wearing those decals on their hats to acknowledge the horrific loss of a fine young man and a terrific baseball player, Jose Fernandez, who was born in Santa Clara, Cuba. Died last night in a boating accident.
Unspeakable tragedy all around baseball. There was a moment of silence before the game, so our hearts go out to the Marlins and the Fernandez family. Joaquin Benoit will take over here in the 8th inning. He will face the top of the order of the Yankees. He has been nothing but spectacular since they picked him up from Seattle. Looking for a hold right now with this game tied.
Brett Gardner, a leadoff man, is over 3. The Yankees have 4 hits. The Blue Jays have 5 hits. The pitching has championed the day here this afternoon. It's a 1-1 game. Both runs coming on solo home runs. Gardner takes a strike. Joaquin Benoit, or he has really added to the bullpen, and they have become top notch down there in that pen. Upstairs, he missed with that fastball. It's 3-1. Obviously, you want to keep this guy off base. He has 16 stolen bases. Jacoby Ellsbury on deck.
He sets the table for the Yankees. You got to figure that he might be taking here 3-1. He is not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. He's not afraid to take pitches, work the count.
We were right on the money. Takes strike 2.
He was taking that one all the way.
Brett Gardner 0 for 3 this afternoon is 5 for 53 against the Yankees this season. Against the Blue Jays, excuse me. So he has not had much success against the Jays. There's a base hit. Carrera's going to have to hurry. Gets over into foul ground. Makes the throw to second. It's high and offline. Brett Gardner hits the leadoff double. His 20th double of the season. And that's how the Yankees start at the top of the 8th.
That's a speed double. 1-1 game. You see outfielders playing a little bit deep, playing no doubles, and the corners playing doubles, but that's a percentage. The Blue Jays said, we're not going to put our third baseman on the line. The percentages are that Gardner's going to hit the ball in the middle of the diamond, and it backfires on him. Gets it by Donaldson down into the left field corner with his speed. He's able to get himself into scoring position. Now the defense is going to be huddling up on the mound to see what they're going to do with Jacoby Ellsbury at the plate. Here's the speed I was talking about. As soon as that ball got by Donaldson, he's thinking 2. And he can run. He can make it easily.
So Gardner with the leadoff double. That's his first hit in 6 at-bats against Benoit. Now Jacoby Ellsbury. He's tried out 3 times. He's 0 for 3 today. Donaldson in on the grass at third. And Benoit, just in case Ellsbury may have tipped his hand, spins, checks on Gardner.
Left-handed batter. I don't think he's going to bunt here. I think they're going to let him swing away.
Ellsbury has 4 sacrifice bunts this season. The Yankees have fewer sacrifice bunts than the Blue Jays. Not showing bunt, takes ball 1.
Young player maybe, but Ellsbury has done some things in this game. He's been around, can handle the bat. Joe Girardi letting his veteran swing away.
Ellsbury's 0 for 4 against Benoit. And obviously in this situation, he's left-handed. He can pull the ball on the ground. He can move Gardner from second, third with a ground out.
And there's also a hole on the left side of the infield too at the Blue Jays, looking for a bunt. He's liable to slap the ball the other way too.
Outside, it's 2-0. Lefties have hit .258 against Benoit for the season. Righties just 167. The rookie Gary Sanchez is on deck. The line score identical. 1 run on 5 hits, no errors for both teams. The Yankees have stranded 5 base runners. The Blue Jays have left 6. .3-0 pitch. Strike upstairs for a strike. Fastball hit to left. Carrera with the long run. He'll get there, makes the catch. Gardner was halfway to third, and Carrera ran it down.
The all-new 2017 Ridgeline, our newest vehicle and their newest fan. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful day to be on the CN Tower Edgewalk. Pete Walker is out. This is a option visit. Who do you want to pitch to? You got Sanchez, the right-handed hitter. He has gone 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Then you have Gregorius behind him, who homered in his last at-bat. So Walker coming out and turning things over to Martin and Benoit. And we have heard Martin take these meetings over in the past where they say, listen, I like the way we're pitching to Sanchez. Let's attack him today.
He'll look at the matchup and said, if the splitter works well with this guy, maybe we'll just use the splitter, maybe the high fastball. Benoit could say, I think I can get this guy. They'll counter all that information and then decide what they want to do.
First pitch, little cutter, and Sanchez goes after it. Obviously, Benoit has the advantage in the experience over Sanchez. And when you're a manager and a pitching coach and you turn these situations over to Benoit, you're very comfortable. He's been a closer in the past. He's 39 years old. He's not going to make a mistake. He might get hit, but he's not going to make a mistake by throwing a bad pitch.
Yeah, too many mistakes. This is the third time that Sanchez has seen him. He's 1 for 2 in his career, so he's seen the splitter and he's seen the slider from Benoit.
Fastball upstairs. Martin elevating the target. Benoit hit it.
You know he wants to drive that run in, so he's a little anxious to swing, so throw one on the edges.
He got him to chase that high fastball. Sanchez is 0 for his last 8 in this series. Had a couple of hits in the first game. He doubled in his first at bat and then had a single in the 6th. And since the 6th inning of the Friday night game, he's 0 for 8.
With a few strikeouts. You know Benoit, you can see him going over what he wants to do in his mind as he rubs up that baseball.
Here's where they can bounce the ball in the dirt. They've thrown him 2 fastballs up. Well, they do bounce it in the dirt, but he wouldn't chase. Brett Gardner with the leadoff double at second base. Fastball tried to go down and away that time, and Benoit left it up.
This guy's got tremendous power. Tremendous power. 19 home runs already in about a month and a half. And you got to decide what you want to do. Do you want to challenge him with those fastballs, maybe get it up and strike him out, pop him up? Or do you want to throw a breaking ball, a split, or something off the edges of the plate? Looking at just the raw numbers from Benoit in 2-strike situations, it's just about 50-50 fastball splitter.
Again, Martin wants a chat with Benoit. Benoit wanted another sign. The bullpen has been great. They've not allowed a run over the last 14 1/3 over the last 4 games. In fact, the last 9 contests have not allowed an earned run. And Joe Biagini's starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays.
Also went out there to talk to Benoit. I say just give him a verbal sign, just like what the Yankees did last inning with the runner at second base. Give him the verbal sign. Don't even put a sign down there. And he doesn't.
Way outside. They missed with the fastball. Well, that was a late swing, but he was quick enough to foul it off. Trying to guard against the breaking ball down and away.
84 miles an hour pitch that was up. Benoit always slows things down to his tempo. You can see him. He'll rub up the baseball. He'll walk off that mound. He'll get himself set. And as a hitter, you want to have a little bit of rhythm up there at the plate. And he just cuts that rhythm in half.
Sanchez has 11 hits against the Blue Jays in 8 games he's played against Toronto. Now it's a 2-2 count. Bounced that one way out in front of home. Martin made a nice block. So now Didi Gregorius, who has accounted for the only Yankee run of the afternoon. He hit a home run off Estrada in the 7th. He waits on deck.
Has he shown him the slider yet in this at bat?
Threw him a cutter on the first pitch, just off the plate for a strike one. Gardner with great speed at second. I think they can beat him with the fastball. He's probably thinking he's going to get a splitter or a slider. Struck him out on a slider. What a great pitch. The experience of Benoit wins the matchup.
He just didn't show it to him until he had to. Fastball, splitter, fastball, splitter, fastball up, splitter down, and then when he needed a strikeout, it looked like a slider, and it was a hard one, about 88 miles an hour. Spins it, and he just can't hold up.
Sanchez anxious to deliver a big hit, chases ball 4.
Russell with a nice pick too. You see that on the backhand?
Didi Gregorius hit his 19th home run last time up in the 7th. 1-1 game. Well, how about that? Couple of good fastballs in tough spots, and Benoit's ahead of Gregorius 0-2. Now that's the one thing you get with Grilli and Benoit. They don't make bad choices.
They've been here before. They've been in these tight situations. Crowd's going crazy. You got the go-ahead run at second base. They just have the ability to slow things down and stay within themselves.
backed up over the Blue Jays dugout out of play. Everybody here at Rogers Center standing on their feet. Gives up a leadoff double. Leaves Gardner stranded at second. Bottom of the 8th, 1-1. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. For the Yankees through 97 pitches over 5 2/3. 3 hits. The only earned run came on the Bautista home run in the 4th. He walked 3, struck out 7. Adam Warren went an inning and a third. He allowed 2 hits, and now Dylan Betances, the big righty, on to face the Blue Jays here in the 8th.
Pineda had 5 strikeouts in a row in the 2nd and 3rd inning. Warren struck out the last 2 batters he faced, and here comes the strikeout king. 121 of them in 71 innings. Joe Girardi wanted a little bit more firepower against the meat of the order.
It is the meat of the order indeed, as it's Donaldson, Encarnacion, and Bautista. JD doubled in his first at bat. These next 3 batters for the Blue Jays have 3 of the 5 Blue Jay hits this afternoon.
You know, we featured them in the opening today, that the big guys seem to step up and up in tough situations when the game is on the line, and they can carry a team. And when they hit, the Blue Jays normally win.
Well, this is when you hear the phrase slow the game down, and Donaldson, Encarnacion, and Bautista certainly can do that. They've had so many at bats, they don't get over anxious. Their heart rate stays about the same.
Tough to slow the game down when a guy's throwing 101.
You don't want to slow it down too much. 2-2 to Donaldson. He hits triple digits again, but it's inside.
He is well rested. He's the third reliever in AL history to record at least 100 strikeouts as a reliever 3 consecutive seasons. You can see why. Hard fastball, hammer curve.
Donaldson takes another walk, a leadoff walk here in the 8th.
Swing for the fences and save during the DIY Expert Sale. Only at Home Building Center and Home Hardware Building Center.
Leadoff man aboard for Edwin Encarnacion. Edwin takes ball 1 down, no way. Edwin 1 for 3. We mentioned he has a single that came in his last at bat in the 6th.
These two were involved in that epic battle back at Yankee Stadium back on September 6th. Encarnacion versus Betances.
Donaldson gets a running start and picks the pocket of the Yankees. Josh Donaldson out of nowhere picks up his 7th stolen base.
He's only been caught 1 time. He's a smart base runner. And he saw that Betances had that high leg kick, wasn't even paying attention to him, and he steals it easily. Watch him at first base. There he goes. Even Gary Sanchez, who could really throw, had no chance to get him.
Boy, Edwin Encarnacion, he saw the break at first, and he just stood back and let Donaldson steal the bag. Didn't even think about swinging. And it's a 2-0 count to Encarnacion. Ground ball. Donaldson heads to third. Gregorius will throw across the diamond. And now the go-ahead run just 90 feet away.
What a heads-up base running play by Josh Donaldson. First, the stolen base. If he doesn't steal the base, that's a double play, 2 outs. But now he's at second base and a hard hit ball right at him. Watch it as he takes a secondary lead right at him, and he just takes right off, anticipates it. No chance for Gregorius. Now the Blue Jays have a chance to break the tie.
99 away for ball 1. Bautista's had a terrific afternoon. 2 walks and a home run. Donaldson at third. Bautista was looking for that pitch.
The last time we were talking about that epic battle in the 9th inning back at Yankee Stadium between the Blue Jays. Betances threw a lot of breaking balls to the Blue Jay hitter, especially Donaldson, Encarnacion, and Bautista.
Got a fastball and fouled it back.
Power versus power. Late in a ball game.
Boy, this is tough to look for a pitch here with a 1-2 count. Just got to protect the plate. Hope you can put the bat on the ball. That is a nasty breaking ball. 88-mile-an-hour curveball.
You don't have much time to react.
The infield drawn in. Bautista checked his swing. You know what? They might play. Now Sanchez arguing with Cuzzy, and the infield all comes in. Headley, Gregorius, everybody's in hollering at the home plate umpire. You might go on contact here because Betances racks up strikeouts so frequently. Donaldson at third. He might be moving if Bautista puts it in play.
Also be ready to ball in the dirt.
Base hit to center field. Donaldson comes in to score. Jose Bautista, another huge hit for the Blue Jays.
You know, we commented that it looked like Jose was waiting for a breaking ball in this at-bat. That's the only way you're going to hit it. That or he's going to have to hang it. And Jose takes care of business once again. Josh Donaldson's base running got him to third base. Jose Bautista's clutch hitting does it again for the Blue Jays.
For Donaldson, that's his 120th run scored this season. The second time he's reached that plateau. Bautista stays back on the breaking ball and rips it into center. Donaldson scores the go-ahead run. What an afternoon for Bautista. He's reached base all 4 times he's come to the plate, and he's driven in both of the Blue Jays' runs.
What a clutch hit. Sits on that breaking ball, gets it. It's up in the strike zone. Now Dalton Pompey is going to take over for Jose at first base. A little pinch run. What a day for Jose.
Well, we mentioned the pedigree of these big sluggers. Donaldson works Betances for a leadoff walk. Comes around to score the go-ahead run. And Bautista has driven in both. Roberto Osuna. Looks like he's ready. Pompey at first. Martin goes after the first pitch.
How about the slide step from Betances because of the speed over at first base? Josh Donaldson took advantage of the high leg kick from Betances and got himself into scoring position. Now with some speed over there at first base, Betances had a little bit of a slide step. Anything to disrupt that timing of the pitcher. There it is again.
Martin with a mighty cut. Donaldson becomes the first Blue Jay in franchise history to score 120 runs or more in 2 seasons. He scored 122 last year. He's now scored 120 this season. Sean Green is the franchise leader in runs scored. Green scored 134 runs in 99. Donaldson is second with 122 last year. Paul Molitor is third in franchise history with 121. That was in 93. The Yankees are 2-7 on this current road trip. They lost 4 to the Red Sox at Fenway, won 2 out of 3 against Tampa Bay. They lost the first 2 games here against the Blue Jays. Pompey gets back in safely as Betances stepped off the rubber.
And then fake the throw over to first base. You can do that. He's getting back easily. He could take another step if he wants to.
Breaking ball caught the inside corner. Mark thought it was off the plate inside. Felt like he had a good look at it.
That's how you rack up as many strikeouts as Dylan Betances has with that great breaking ball and the power fastball. One more time. Pulls it down. Russell thinks that ball is up and in.
Troy Tulowitzki. Pompey took over as a pinch runner for Bautista. He's still at first.
He hasn't been able to get a good read on Betances, but you got to go.
Donaldson stole a big base in the inning after he walked. He got a terrific jump, picked up the stolen base, and then went to third base on the ground out by Encarnacion and scored on Bautista's RBI single.
That's just knowing the situation, and you knew that Betances has that high leg kick. He's not using it now.
Pompey was bouncing off, and Betances stepped off the rubber. This is the 8th time Betances has pitched against the Blue Jays this season. Coming into this game, he had pitched a total of 6 2/3. He had 11 strikeouts. Now they got him picked off. Betances, now he's got a chance to beat it, and he does. Teixeira got it stuck in his glove, couldn't come out of it cleanly. Pompey made the right choice. He just took off for second.
Todd as a pitcher, he steps off, he does the right thing, and then Dalton was trying to go. You run him back to the base. He ran him back to first base, let go of the ball one more time. Watch the back leg. Step off, run him back to the bag. Then he gives it up too early, and Teixeira can't get the ball out of his glove, and Pompey outruns the play.
Yeah, if he gets in behind Pompey and runs him toward first, it's a different story. So now Tulowitzki with a runner in scoring position. Breaking ball inside, 2-0. Let's don't forget about the terrific effort by Joaquin Benoit in the top half of the inning. He gave up a leadoff double to Gardner, and then retired the next 3, including strikeouts of Sanchez and Gregorius.
That's tough to do. Lead off double, facing the best hitters, and then you find your way out of it. Blue Jays would like to get a little add-on run right here, a little insurance.
Well, you talk about tough games. It's 2-1 here. Yankees and Blue Jays. Boston leads Tampa Bay 2-1. Baltimore leads Arizona 2-1. Tulowitzki foul tips it. Might have clipped the catcher on his backswing. But how about the day for Jose Bautista? He homered in the 4th, gives the Blue Jays the lead in the 8th. A terrific afternoon for the big slugger. game, a historic game between the Rockies and the Dodgers, because it'll be Vin Scully's last game announcing at Dodger Stadium. What a tremendous career coming to an end. He'll call the final home game for the Dodgers. And Vin Scully has said, I'm not going to call any postseason games. I'm just going to do this, and this will be his last home game. That's coming up after this ball game.
Roberto Osuna into the ball game now. He picked up his 35th save in yesterday's game in the 9th inning. Got a chance to do it again here. A couple other changes for the Blue Jays.
Defensively, Melvin Upton Jr. comes in to play left field, and with that, Guerrero goes from left to right. Michael Saunders is out of the game, and Osuna throws a first pitch strike to Teixeira. How about this bullpen? Grilly picked up the win yesterday. He had a terrific 8th inning of work, a couple of strikeouts.
Wow, good pitch.
Terrific pitch.
This is the same recipe we saw yesterday from the Blue Jays. Marcus Stroman went 7 innings, didn't give up a run. Grilly, then Osuna. Today, Estrada, 7 beautiful innings. Benoit, hopefully Osuna.
Teixeira singles into center. A leadoff single for the veteran Teixeira, his 2nd hit of the afternoon. So Teixeira will leave in favor of the pinch runner. It is Rob Refsnyder coming off the bench to run for Mark Teixeira. And maybe in his final appearance here at Rogers Center, he gets a base hit, finishes up the afternoon 2 for 4. Mark Teixeira, his career coming to an end, and what a career it has been.
5th most home runs in Major League Baseball history by a switch hitter.
This is Billy Butler pinch hitting for Eric Young, who came on as a pinch runner. He goes after the first pitch. Brian McCann, the DH, singled in the 7th, was taken out for the pinch runner. Now Billy Butler batting for Eric Young. Butler pinch hit in the 8th inning against Grilly and struck out in yesterday's game. Osuna threw 13 pitches in the game yesterday. Broken bat, little blooper that's going to drop over Tulowitzki's head. Refsnyder stops at 2nd. So Billy Butler delivers a broken bat 0-2 single.
And unfortunately for the Blue Jays, he got Teixeira down 2 strikes, couldn't finish him off. He singles. Billy Butler's down 2 strikes, throws a pretty good slider down and away, breaks his bat off the end of the bat. It shatters. Strong enough to get the ball into the outfield. Nobody's going to catch that. So the first 2 reach here in the 9th.
So Butler comes off the bench and gets a pinch hit base hit. Donovan Solano takes over as a pinch runner at first. Now Chase Headley, the 3rd baseman. Headley 1 for 3, singled his first time up and then struck out twice. Donaldson at 3rd, guarding against the bunt. Osuna knocks it down. He takes his time, gets the out at first. The runners move up. But now there are 2 runners in scoring position
and just 1 out. That's unfortunate. If he comes up with that, maybe a base hit. Right back at him. He knocks it down. Thankfully, that thing's into center field. But it works like a sacrifice. Chase Headley hits that first pitch right through the wickets.
So now,
Osuna, excuse me, Buck, takes his time and gets the out.
Yeah, he did a good job of just staying with that, not panicking, and got the out at first. But there are runners at second and third, one out. Mason Williams, the right fielder, has struck out twice and walked. Late on that pitch, it's a foul ball. Williams came into this game with just 18 at-bats on the season. He now up to 20 with a couple of strikeouts and a walk this afternoon. 1-1 count to Williams. Well, he ran that fastball in on his hand.
Now you got to finish him off. That fastball a little bit better. Doesn't look like the Yankees are running contact here. The runner at third base is not getting a very big lead.
Base hit to left field. Ref Snyder's in to score. They'll stop the pinch runner at third as Solano stops at third, but Mason Williams picks up his second RBI of the season, and the Yankees have tied it up here in the ninth.
That's the third two-strike hit of the inning. It was up, so that's how he was able to get to that ball. Just poke it the other way with the infield in. One more time, watch where the fastball is. Infield in, fastball up, just poke it the other way for one run. And they hold the runner at third base.
Ronald Torres, the second baseman. He's 0 for 3. He bunts and Martin gets on it quickly. It was not a squeeze bunt, it was a safety squeeze. The runner was not breaking from third.
Yeah, you're just trying to read that ball down. That is DeMarlo Hale. He's running the infield while Luis Rivera is away. Not a real good effort. He was trying to push that ball to the right side of the infield.
So now the infield comes in closer up the middle. Torres fouls it out of play. The Yankees have now out-hit the Blue Jays 8-6. Of course, Torres had a triple in the 8th inning off of Grilling in yesterday's game. He's 0 for 3 today. Mark Teixeira got it started with a base hit to center. And Billy Butler got a broken bat single to center field. First two reached. Reyes just spoils a pretty good pitch.
He's been a tough out this whole series. You mentioned a triple yesterday.
Brett Cecil trying to get loose in a hurry. Torres batting in the ninth spot, then Gardner and Ellsbury. Fly ball into center. Pilar backing up, tagging at third is Solano. Here's the throw to the plate, and it's not in time as Ronald Torres delivers the sac fly to center, and the Yankees have taken the lead.
Well, another tough at bat for Torres. You can see all the high fives after the great at bat against Osuna. Looking for something up in the air, up in the strike zone that you can get up into the air and get into the outfield. Torres has played a terrific game.
So Mason Williams at first with 2 down. Now back to the top of the order. Brett Gardner had a leadoff double off Benoit in the 8th. Gardner is 1 for 4 this afternoon. Popped up on the infield. Donaldson, the third baseman, takes charge. He makes the catch. But the Yankees score 2 in the top half of the ninth to take the 3-2 lead. They get to Roberto Osuna, a couple of base hits. Upton, Pilar, and Carrera. Blue Jays down by a run. Things change very quickly this time of the year. The Blue Jays have a game-and-a-half lead over the Orioles for that first wild card spot. Then Detroit trails Baltimore by a half game. Seattle 2.5. Houston 3. And as you look around the league, Boston still leading Tampa Bay 2-1. Arizona trails Baltimore 2-1. Bottom of the 8th. Detroit down 11-7. They're in the bottom of the 7th at Comerica. And Seattle has taken the lead over Minnesota. Middle of the 6th, it's 4-2 Seattle. Tyler Austin takes over defensively at first base for the Yankees. Melvin Upton Jr. goes after the first pitch. Betances remains in the game. He came in to start the 8th inning and gave up the RBI single to Bautista.
Joe Girardi has done this plenty of times for Betances when he was setting up for Andrew Miller, giving him a couple of innings. He's just getting loose.
He struck out Martin and Tulowitzki to end the 8th. He walked Donaldson. JD stole second, moved to third on the ground out, and scored on Bautista's base hit. The Yankees snapped their scoreless inning streak at 33 when Didi Gregorius homered in the 7th.
.98 miles an hour with that fastball. Now with the lead, he's coming right after the Blue Jays.
Runs off the plate inside. 2-2. Kevin Pillar is on deck. It's 7, 8, 9 in the Blue Jays batting order. Upton takes off that breaking ball off the plate. Full count. Well, if Upton get on, he's got stolen base speed.
Anything could happen then. Gotta figure he's got to challenge him here with that fastball.
You would think. 3-2 pitch. Missed ball 4. Leadoff man's aboard. Betances walked Donaldson to start the 8th. Now he walks Upton to start the 9th. Joe Girardi has come out of the Yankee dugout. He's already made the call to the bullpen. So Betances, with a chance to start the 9th, loses Upton on base on balls, and now he's out of the game. Tyler Clippard coming on. He gave up the home run to Bautista in yesterday's game. Tyler Clippard was the losing pitcher in yesterday's game. He came in to start the 8th inning, got the first 2 batters out, and then Donaldson singled and Connolly walked, and Bautista hit a 3-run home run. Only runs in the ball game.
He had 40 games with the Diamondbacks. He was 2-3 with a save and a 4.5 earned run average. He was then traded back to the Yankees. Numbers all the way around. He's gone 1-1 with a save and a 127 earned run average in 25 appearances for New York. In his big league career, he's pitched for the Yankees and Nationals, Athletics, the Mets, and Diamondbacks.
Kevin Pillar had a sacrifice bunt in the 7th. Squares to bunt and bunts it foul. Teixeira is out of the game. The first baseman is now Tyler Austin. Betances issues the leadoff walk. He's out of the game. Teixeira got a big base hit to start the top half of the 9th inning. He was lifted for the pinch runner, and Refsnyder came around to score.
Good speed at first base. I mean, he can steal second if Clippard takes a long time to get rid of the ball.
Pillar bunts it foul. It's 0-2. Went after maybe a ball up and away. No balls and 2 strikes, nobody out. Blue Jays need a run to tie.
1 to tie, 2 to win. You mentioned Clippard gave it up yesterday, a big home run. Fastball, breaking ball, outstanding changeup is what he's going to be featuring.
Upton has 299 career stolen bases. Sanchez is a tough catcher to run on. He's caught 36% of the base stealers.
He can just totally shut down a running game. Pretty good lead over there at first base.
Millar spoils a good pitch. That good changeup from Clippard. Tampa Bay has tied up the Red Sox 2-2 down in St. Petersburg, bottom of the 8th. There goes Upton. He got a great jump, and Pilar had to protect with 2 strikes. He fouls it off. Melvin got a great jump that time.
Yes, he did. But you're right. Pitch was too close to take with 2 strikes. And Kevin has to just foul the ball off. There's the break. You can see it's a straight steal because he never looked back to find where the ball was.
Blue Jays won the opener 9-0 and won 3-0 yesterday afternoon. It's a 3-2 Yankees lead. Pilar with a base hit to right. Upton will turn, and here he's challenging the arm, and he'll make it. Melvin Upton going first to third. A terrific piece of base running. What a hit by Pilar with 2 strikes.
Hey, if you can't succeed at bunting, go ahead and hit a single into right field. Got the right pitch to do that inside-out swing. He's going to wait a long time to make sure he sees the ball and just punches it the other way. Upton did an interesting job. It looked like he might have been decoying the runner. Decoying the outfielder. As he turns, he goes into second base. There's the ball into the outfield. And he turned it on once he went to second base and found another gear.
Oh, great base running by Upton. Runners into corners, nobody out. Melvin Upton Jr. with the leadoff walk. Pilar with a 2-strike base hit through the side on the right side. And now the Yankees going through their defensive signs.
I would look for the first pitch and try and yank a ball into right field if you're Ezekiel Carrera. Infield in, you got a hole on the right side of the infield. Cooper doesn't throw that hard.
He bunts it, and here comes Upton. He scores. Pilar is going to go to third, and Carrera will go to second. Sanchez chooses not to make a throw. Nobody's at second. How about Zeke? Carrera drops down a perfect bunt.
That looked like one of the plays where it's a safety squeeze. If you get it down, the runner's going to come on contact. You're right. An absolute perfect bunt. You got the speed at third base. One more time, we take a look at it. It's right up the line. Here comes Upton. He scores, and then Clippard unwisely tries to shovel the ball to the catcher. It gets to the backstop. Pilar.
So it's a base hit for Carrera and an RBI. Clippard charged with the air that allowed Pilar to go to third. Now back to the top of the order.
Outfield has to come in. Infield in. If you're the runner at third base, make the ball go through. Watch the line drive.
The Blue Jays have had 5 walk-off wins this season.
You know, if you're Devin Travis here, You know that Tyler Clipper is going to try and get you to swing at something outside of the strike zone. An off-speed pitch. Be patient. Wait for him to come to you. He's hoping you swing at something out of the strike zone, so you tap to one of the infielders.
Well, he got a pitch to hit, changeup up in the zone, and it's fouled straight back. Upton's run is charged to Betances. Betances walked him to start the inning. Clipper came in, and what a base hit by Kevin Pillar. With 2 strikes, he just poked it through the right side of the infield. Upton went first to third, and that set up Carrera with that bunt base hit. It drives into tying run.
Set up the whole inning.
One away. Josh Donaldson comes to the plate.
Same thing applies. He's going to try and get you to swing at something out of the strike zone.
Well, they're going to put him on. They got a base open, and they will put him on. The only reason to do this is to set up a potential double play. Edwin Encarnacion is on deck.
Walk the batter to get the American League's leader in RBIs. Might rattle him up a little bit.
Edwin has 15 RBIs against the Yankees this season. That's most by any hitter against New York. Joe Girardi has the ultimate respect for Encarnacion, but this situation calls to set up the double play.
And no place to put him. Remember, no Jose Bautista also behind him. So Edwin now with the bases loaded. All you're looking for is something deep enough into the outfield.
Bases loaded, 1 out. The infield playing for the double play. Ground ball to the right side. That'll win it. Edwin Encarnacion delivers the walk-off RBI base hit, and the Blue Jays come from behind in the ninth.
Focused on the middle of the lineup of the Blue Jays in the opening because the veterans don't seem to get too excited in these excitable moments in a pennant chase. I don't think the Blue Jays wanted anybody else at the plate except Edwin Encarnacion in that situation.
What a big inning for the team to get it started the way they did. Upton walks, Pillar singles, and Carrera bunts to tie it up, and England delivers the game-winning base hit.
Sometimes all it takes is a ball to the right side of the infield again. The Blue Jays have been doing that the last couple of days, and it's paid off with a couple of wins. Inside-out swing to right field. No play for the second baseman, Torreyes. And the Blue Jays have a huge walk-off win.
Great job by Melvin Upton Jr. to get it started. He goes first to third on the Pillar hit. Encarnacion delivers the game-winning hit as Pillar comes in to score. The fourth run, and the Blue Jays win it 4-3. They won the first 3 games of this 4-game series against the Yankees. Let's go down to Hazel May, who's standing by.
Buck, thank you very much. Kevin Pillar last season, the bottom of the order, played a huge part in the team's success. Melvin Upton Jr. walks, and then you deliver a big base hit. Take us through Zeke's bunt and how that play transpired, how you ended up at third base.
I didn't really see what happened. Z does that on his own. He's a tremendous butter. You know, that's a strength of his. You know, he used it at the right time, put the pressure on the defense to make a play, and it worked out.
So many times this ball club has been on the wrong side of tight ball games, one-run ball games. Is luck finally turning around for you guys, or are you guys approaching things much differently now?
I think a little bit of both, but we're playing good baseball. We're doing the little things right. We're running the bases. We're not trying to hit the home run. Guys are shortening up, trying to put the ball in play, and good things are happening.
Edwin Encarnacion is so much fun to watch for Blue Jays fans. What is it like to be his teammate?
He's incredible. He doesn't get enough credit for what he does. I think part of it is because people see him as a DH, but it's a guy that should be in the MVP conversation for what he's been able to do for this team.
Kevin Pillar, with your help, the Blue Jays have now won 3 straight against the Yankees. We'll see you tomorrow.
Keep it going.
All right, we are going to keep it going as we send it back to Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. The Blue Jays win it 4-3. Osuna is the winning pitcher. Clipper takes the loss. We'll see you tomorrow night, 4th of this series. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.